Hello and welcome back to 100 Hours Later. Last time we were doing Red Dead Redemption 2. This time we're doing Brighter Shores. As some of you may already know, we rate these games based on 5 different metrics: gameplay, story, graphics, sound, and playability. We play the game for an hour, we rate it, we come back after playing for 100 hours, and we rate it again, and we see what's changed. Is it a better game than I thought it was? Is it a worse game? So we're going to kick off with gameplay in the first hour, and we have to compare it to old school RuneScape, right? Because that's what everyone's thinking in their minds when they click the play button on this game. Is it like old school RuneScape? Can I vibe with it? Is it in the same wavelength? So I see a lot of similarities to old school RuneScape, and I see a lot of differences. And the differences aren't necessarily a bad thing, but let's go with the similarities to begin with. Initially, it has to be the skills. So you're seeing fishing, you're seeing cooking, you're seeing those combat skills, the levels slowly grinding up, you see that XP popping up. That's very familiar and something that initially drew me into this Brighter Shores experience, I have to say. There's that old school RuneScape meme. Oh, I like to watch the numbers go up. It means I'm having more fun. And I think that's true to Brighter Shores as well. You're watching the numbers go up as you're fishing, and I guess it's like a dopamine thing, right? It's like, yes, I've leveled up, I've accomplished something, and that ticks that box for sure. It's got the same feeling in this game as it does to old school RuneScape. What is different, however, is the combat, which does actually feel different to old school RuneScape. And it's not a bad thing that it's different, in fact. I quite like it. I like that you've got different weapon selections and you've got these potions to heal and cooldowns for attacks and things like that. I think it's good that they're trying to branch out. And in the first hour of gameplay, it was definitely refreshing that it wasn't just left click to attack and then sit there and toggle on and off prayers, etc. So, moving on to rating for the first hour of Brighter Shores on gameplay, out of 5, I would score it a 3. And the reason it's a 3 is because it's not mind bogglingly brilliant. I'm not in awe of the gameplay. It is, however, solid. It's not glitchy. It's not buggy. It's pretty fun in some aspects, but it is nothing new either. It's not groundbreaking. It hasn't branched out from old school RuneScape or any other MMO in any sort of significant way, and that's why the 3. It's perfectly fine, but I'm not going to remember it in a year's time. But I hear you cry, what about after 100 hours? What about after 100 hours? Is it a good game after that amount of time? And I'm going to give it a small glimmer of hope prior to absolutely bashing this game. And I think that some of the mechanics are cool. This giant newt in the video that you can see now, I liked this battle, and I thought that was actually quite fun and a little bit innovative as well, actually. But that's the limit to all of my compliments that I can give it, honestly, in terms of gameplay. The reusing of assets in this game is inexcusable. This gameplay loop that you go on, that you guys won't have experienced unless you're obviously a big fan of the game, is the fact that you just level up, and as you level up, you go around and around and around, and you fight the same 5 or 6 enemies over and over and over again, and it's just so repetitive and dull. It's like, oh, today we're fighting the bears. Oh, cool. We're fighting the crows because we've leveled up. Oh, what's that? The bears have changed their skin and now they're grey, and now you have to fight the bears again. And it's absolutely dismal. And I would not have played this game for 100 hours unless it were for this video. I would not have played it for 20. I'm going to give gameplay a 1 out of 10. And quite frankly, I don't think it even deserves that, to be honest. And on that sunny note, let's move on to story. So, the story in the first hour, it seemed not bad. Pretty generic, ooh, invasion. Oh, we must save the world. But what else are you going to do in an MMORPG? You're always the main character. You're always the hero. It wasn't bad. It wasn't particularly gripping either. But I'd probably give it like a 2.5. Story isn't really the main grabbing point for this games of this style anyway. So I wasn't expecting a 5 overall. And do I keep that opinion after the 100th hour? I'm going to say yes. And the only reason I'm going to say yes is because it's locked behind a paywall. The main storyline is completely locked behind the paywall where you have to subscribe to find out what happens. And I get that they have to make money somehow, but I would really rather that it was DLCs or additional content that they were charging for, not the actual main storyline. So I'm going to knock it down from 2.5 to 2. I think that's relatively fair. Maybe you guys will disagree with me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And that's all I've really got to say on the story. So I'm going to move on to graphics, and this one is going to be just a small bullet point, really. It hasn't really changed over the 100 hours. The first hour and the 100th hour, they felt the same. You know, nothing jumped out at me. There was no extra cutscenes that made me think, oh, you know what? Actually, they put some extra effort in here later on down the game. It was all pretty similar all the way through. It's a stylistic choice at the end of the day. I'm going to just give it a flat 3 as well out of 5. It's not overwhelming. It's pretty good going considering the small development team. That's why it's got a 3 in my book, because if it was made by Blizzard, I would be asking more questions. If it was made by Bethesda, I'd be saying, okay, this is poor. But given the small development team, I think 3 out of 5 is reasonable. Moving on to sound now. Here's a few little clips that I've taken of the different music and sound effects that you can have in the game. I'll let you formulate your own opinion first as I run through these clips, and then I'll give you mine in the first hour and the 100th hour afterwards. So there's just a few snippets there to help you maybe formulate opinion if you haven't seen the game before. My first hour and my 100th hour doesn't change in the sound, really. I think it's quite well designed. I like the atmospheric music. There seems to be a lot of effort put into the sound. Nothing sounds out of place. Nothing sounds too janky or too loud or too quiet in relation to the rest of the parts of the game. So I think, yeah, overall, I think it was quite a good job. There's nothing wrong with it. I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5. The only reason that I was on the fence about lowering the sound is that I consider this, like RuneScape, to be quite a background game. And what I mean by that is I'm playing this game, but I'm also watching a film. I'm playing this game and I'm also doing something else, because it's not, a game that you would ideally usually be playing solely and only doing that, because it's a bit dull otherwise. So, yeah, I'm going to keep it exactly the same. 3.5 for after 100 hours, 3.5 after 1 hour. Maybe you guys will disagree. Maybe you agree that it is kind of grating after a while and you don't really want to be listening to it, not just for the reasons I've just stated there. But yeah, tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'd be interested to hear your opinion too. And on to the final section, which is playability and or replayability. In the first hour, I really thought the replayability was going to be high, top tier. This is the new RuneScape. And I was going to give it a 4.5 in the first hour because it just seemed to have all the right things initially. And as you guys can probably tell from the theme of the general video, yes, after 100 hours, my impression of it has dwindled. And it's gone from 4.5 all the way down to a 1. And I think you'll find that the vast majority of people agree with me on Steam. If we look at the charts here, you can see that the all-time peak 6 months ago was 21,000, and now we're sitting at 530. And you can see why. When you see like level 2000 players doing the exact same thing in the same place as level 1 players, you start to wonder, is there any reason why I'm doing this? It's shameless reuse of the materials over and over, and there isn't a lot of creativity. The XP is slow, and it only gets slower the more you progress. And I could rant about it all day, but I won't. I'll let you guys go now. Leave a like, comment on what you guys think, and here's a little general summary of all of my ratings. Tell me if you disagree, tell me if you agree. Should I try it out again? Let me know. I probably won't. Look out for the next 100 hours later, guys, and check out my last one on Red Dead Redemption 2. Bye bye.